Hi guys, this is a curious thing. The right-wing media will go to all lengths to attack striking workers. They will rarely talk about the reason industrial action is taking place, and they will never offer an alternative to going on strike. But they will paint a picture of workers who are asking for better pay and conditions of employment as the enemy. Junior doctors, nurses, junior barristers, rail staff are taking industrial action because they see their sectors either being decimated by the Tories, or the wages not keeping up with inflation, or out of a concern for their patients or customers. But the right-wing press will attack them anyway, hoping to turn the public against the strikers, working on behalf of a government that wants staff back doing what they're told for poor wages and conditions. Have a listen to two reporters paint pretty much the same picture.
Yeah, but just on the issue of Eurovision, it may seem petty that I'm drilling down into this, but there are Ukrainian refugees who are going to Liverpool. We're hosting Eurovision on behalf of Ukraine this year. There are Ukrainian refugees who've been given subsidised tickets so that they can go and enjoy this concert after an unthinkable year for their country. Should there not be a moral line that unions cannot cross?
What? A moral line that unions cannot cross, and you're setting that line as not being able to take public transport to the Eurovision Song Contest. That's the moral line. Now, she started off by saying, I don't want to be petty, and now she's saying, well, unions shouldn't go on strike because some people need to use public transport in order to get to the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, I understand and it's a great thing that the UK is hosting this on behalf of Ukraine. But to say to trade unions who are striking in order to improve pay and conditions for their members that, well, you shouldn't actually go on strike today because there's the Eurovision Song Contest and some people want to get to it and they'd like to use public transport. Really? Well, here's another one.
Here's the thing. There are some things in life you just don't do. You don't go there. Stuff you wouldn't dream of doing. Obvious things. You don't arrange birthday drinks on the same day your mate is getting married. You don't drive a car blindfold. You don't apply for the same job as your friend. You don't buy an Alsatian if you live in a bedsit. You know the kind of stuff. And you don't arrange strike action on the same day as the FA Cup final, the Derby, or the Eurovision Song Contest.
Look, I don't know if the trade unions had actually organised the strikes to take place at the same time as these events. But if they did, well then obviously they did it to have maximum impact. Like, I've asked this question before. Two questions actually. The first is, what is the alternative? Because the right-wing media don't want them going on strike. They don't want any industrial action. So what's the alternative? Go to the employer and beg for better paying conditions? Well, that hasn't worked because obviously before they take industrial action, they pressure the employer, please give us better paying conditions. We'd like better paying conditions. Otherwise, we're going on strike. There's a negotiation. Then that fails. So then the next course of action is going on strike. The same with the government. They ask the government for better paying conditions. The government say no. Then they go on strike because the alternative to going on strike is talks. But the talks don't work, so then they go on strike. So going on strike isn't the first course of action. It's usually the last course of action. So once again, this is my question for any right-wing commentators or politicians. If you don't want them going on strike, what is your alternative? And second, when are they supposed to go on strike? Is it when it doesn't inconvenience anyone? Then it's not going to have any impact. The point of industrial action is to have an impact. So having the strike on a Wednesday between 12 midnight and 1 a.m., it's not going to have an impact as much as we've seen here during the FA Cup final or Eurovision or Derby or whatever. It's designed to have an impact. It's designed to pressure either the employers or the government to respond to it by giving into the demands, or at least negotiating in a way that will help bring the dispute to an end. Like, the right-wing media don't want people going on strike. They don't want to provide an alternative. They just want them to go back to the way things are. And as I said, many workers are on strike because it's affecting them directly, the cost of living, the conditions of their contracts, or they're seeing patients or public safety being put at risk. And that's why they're taking industrial action. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.